Welcome to USA Rift. Look around you for a second. Really look. We are currently living in an era of absolutely unprecedented wealth generation. We have access to more financial tools, way more career mobility, and significantly higher salaries than any generation in human history. I mean, on paper, we should all be thriving. Yet, beneath this shiny veneer of prosperity, there is a quiet, frankly terrifying reality taking hold. There is an invisible architecture completely surrounding us, and it's silently draining the life energy of the middle and upper classes, leaving millions of people feeling exhausted, totally overextended, and trapped in a loop they can't even see. So today, we're going to use this explainer to dig deep into the source material. We're going to rip the lid off this thing and figure out exactly how this system works.
So ask yourself, why does earning more feel like less? You know the feeling, right? You put in the brutal hours, you finally get the big promotion, you secure that six-figure milestone that 5 years ago you literally dreamed about. You thought it would fix everything. From the outside, your life looks like a resounding, massive success. But internally, by the 20th of every single month, the financial pressure you feel in your chest is exactly the same as it was when you were making half as much. The stress didn't vanish, it just got an upgrade.
And here is the deeply uncomfortable truth that the traditional financial gurus absolutely refuse to tell you. Ready? You are not broke because you spend too much on coffee. Seriously. You are not failing because you lack some kind of magical discipline or willpower. You are financially stuck because the system was never actually designed for you to win. It is an intricate, highly calibrated architecture of sufficiency. It's built from the ground up to keep you perpetually hungry, constantly producing, and forever consuming. Section 1. The Invisible Money Trap. Okay, let's really dive into this, because for decades, we've been heavily conditioned to view our financial struggles as personal, moral failures. But what we are actually experiencing day to day is a highly sophisticated money trap. And it all begins with something called lifestyle inflation. The formula is brutally simple. Your income goes up, your lifestyle expands to match it, and you stay exactly where you are. Now, I want to be clear here. This isn't just about someone irresponsibly going out and buying a flashy sports car or a massive mansion they can't afford. It is way more subtle than that. It is a systematic, almost invisible absorption of your wealth. You move to a slightly safer neighborhood because you can, right? And boom, your rent jumps. You upgrade your phone to the pro model, your monthly plan increases. You start socializing with higher earning peers. Suddenly, your casual dinner tabs double. Every single raise you earn is immediately, quietly consumed by these incrementally upgraded expectations. And this effectively ensures that your net wealth never actually compounds. You earn more, you spend more, and you stand entirely still. Section 2. The Hedonic Treadmill. Which brings us to the psychological engine that actually powers this entire trap. And the scariest part? It's an engine built directly into your own human neurochemistry. It's known in psychology as the hedonic treadmill or hedonic adaptation. By definition, this is the human tendency to rapidly return to a relatively stable baseline level of happiness, completely regardless of major positive life events or massive income increases. I want you to picture an actual physical treadmill at the gym. You are running, you're sweating, you're pushing yourself to your absolute physical limit. You deeply feel the exertion of forward movement, but you look down and you are in the exact same spot. It's the same with your money. When you buy that luxury SUV, your brain experiences a massive, incredible dopamine spike. It feels amazing. But within just 2 to 3 months, that thrill completely evaporates. The hedonic adaptation kicks in. It just becomes your car that you drive to the grocery store. Yet that crushing $800 monthly payment, that remains forever. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact mechanism that the modern economic system uses against you every single day. It constantly, relentlessly sells you hedonic well-being. This is that short-term pleasure. It's entirely consumption-driven, and, as we just established, it is highly, highly vulnerable to adaptation. The system basically requires you to keep swiping your credit card just to feel a normal baseline of okay. But what it deliberately distracts you from is eudaimonic well-being. That's the long-term meaning, the deep personal growth, and the authentic human connection that actually brings lasting fulfillment. But here's the catch. Eudaimonic well-being doesn't generate massive corporate profits, so it's not advertised to you. Section 3. The Diderot Effect. Now, to truly understand just how deeply consumer chains hijack our very identity, we actually need to travel all the way back to the 18th century and look at a French philosopher named Denis Diderot. Diderot once wrote this haunting line,
I was absolute master of my old dressing gown, but I have become a slave to my new one. You see, Diderot lived a very simple, humble life, right up until he received a beautiful, elegant, extremely expensive scarlet robe as a gift. But almost immediately after hanging it in his home, a profound psychological crisis occurred. Suddenly, next to this incredible robe, his old wooden desk looked incredibly cheap. His chairs looked worn out and pathetic. The magnificent new robe made the rest of his perfectly functional normal life look painfully inadequate. So, to match his new perceived identity, he replaced his desk, then his chairs, then his art. He spiraled into devastating debt just to achieve harmony with one single luxurious item.
What he experienced are the textbook symptoms of what we now call the Diderot cascade. It's a psychological domino effect. Upgrading just one single item triggers an absolute chain reaction. Suddenly your old, perfectly fine possessions feel cheap. Matching ecosystems suddenly feel absolutely mandatory. Purchases start to cluster in themes. This is known as the unity trap, where everything has to match a certain aesthetic. And because of this, unplanned, cascading debt accumulates rapidly. And listen to me, modern brands completely weaponize this exact phenomenon today. They don't just sell you a smartphone anymore, right? They sell you the matching smartwatch, the wireless earbuds, the seamlessly integrated laptop. They are selling you a cohesive lifestyle identity. And if you are missing even one piece of that ecosystem, they are experts at making you feel utterly incomplete.
Section 4. The happiness threshold.
Let's move to the actual numbers and see how this builds, because we now have the cold, hard data to prove exactly how this relentless pursuit impacts human emotion. Notice the massive revelation here from the famous Kahneman-Killingsworth adversarial collaboration. These researchers analyzed exactly how income dictates daily emotional well-being across different cohorts of people. For the happiest 30% of the population, well-being does indeed accelerate sharply after making 100 grand. But look very, very closely at the unhappiest 15%. If you are in this specific cohort, if you are deeply unhappy, maybe you're dealing with severe heartbreak, clinical depression, or heavy anxiety, your happiness plateaus completely at exactly $100,000. It flatlines. Because money can solve logistical stress, sure, but if you are already fundamentally miserable, making an extra $400,000 a year will not save you. It will literally just make you wealthy and miserable. But for the rest of us, this chart right here reveals a terrifying, hidden reality of the modern economy, the escalating baseline. This shows that the more money you make, the exponentially more it costs to trigger even a temporary spike in your happiness. Look at this. If you currently make under $150,000, you need about a $20,000 raise just to feel a noticeable bump in joy. That's a lot, but it's attainable. But what if your income's already over $250,000? You need a massive, unbelievable $100,000 raise just to feel that exact same temporary high. Your brain is quite literally building a tolerance to money, exactly the way a physical body builds a tolerance to a substance. It takes more and more just to feel normal. $2.3 million. Let the absolute gravity of that number sink in for a second. According to recent survey data, this is the exact net worth that Americans now believe is required to merely be considered wealthy. It used to be $1 million, right? Being a millionaire was the ultimate finish line. But the goalposts are relentlessly moving. Rampant inflation, exploding housing costs, and vicious, localized status competition are actively pushing the finish line further and further away, the faster you try to run toward it. Section 5. Calculating your enough. So what does this all mean? How do we actually stop running? Well, we have to transition to the mathematical escape hatch. You do not have to play a rigged game where the system constantly moves the finish line on you. Instead, you find your personal crossover point. This is a very specific, beautiful thing. It is the exact moment on your personal timeline where your passive investment income permanently exceeds your monthly living expenses. Listen, true financial independence isn't about looking rich to your neighbors. It definitely isn't about hitting an arbitrary $2.3 million status symbol that society just made up. It is about crossing this highly specific, deeply personalized mathematical threshold where your money finally works harder than you do. So the crucial point is, how do we actually calculate this for ourselves? We use something called the 25x rule, which was born from the legendary Trinity study in finance. It's incredibly simple, but it's a real game changer. Step 1, calculate your true, completely honest annual expenses. Not your gross income, not your vanity metrics, your actual bedrock expenses. Step 2, you take that exact number and you multiply it by 25. Step 3, you have arrived at your personalized finish line target. This is what people call your FU money. Let's say you realize you only actually spend $80,000 a year to live a good life. Your number is exactly $2 million. The minute you hit that number in invested assets, you are mathematically, undeniably free from the system.
But, and this is important, your withdrawal strategy actually has to match your specific life goals. Here are the 3 distinct frameworks you can use to escape. The standard safe withdrawal rate uses that classic 25 times multiplier we just talked about, allowing a 4% draw for a typical 30-year retirement. It's reliable, it preserves capital. But maybe you're aiming for extreme early retirement, say in your 30s or 40s. Then you might look at what's called FANG FIRE. This demands 33.3 times your expenses, allowing for a hyper-conservative 3% withdrawal. The core objective here, preserving your wealth indefinitely, no matter what the market does. Or, conversely, maybe you want to completely avoid one more year syndrome, that irrational, paralyzing fear of running out of money that keeps you working needlessly in a cubicle for another decade. In that case, you might adopt the die with zero strategy. Here, you're pulling a heavier 5 to 6%. Why? To completely maximize your lifetime utility and life experiences while you are still physically healthy enough to actually enjoy them. Knowing your precise numbers is the only thing that allows you to stop blindly trading your finite life energy for dollars.
Section 6. Escaping the system. All right, we've mapped out the mathematical escape route. Now, it is time to actively take back your autonomy from a culture that desperately wants you perpetually exhausted. You have to implement the anti-treadmill protocol in your daily life. First, utilize Step Up SIPs. These are systematic investment plans that automatically increase your savings rate the exact moment you get a raise. It literally sweeps the new money away into investments before it ever even hits your checking account, short-circuiting lifestyle inflation instantly. Second, define your exact enough number based on what we just learned, and physically write it down today. Put it on your fridge. Third, you have to distinguish your true needs from your manufactured, corporate-driven wants with absolutely ruthless honesty. And finally, reclaim your identity from your possessions. Understand this. Breaking this toxic cycle requires hard, structural, automated changes to your financial flow. You cannot just rely on willpower, because willpower will always, eventually fatigue. Automated systems never do. Listen, we are in a daily fight against a multi-trillion-dollar behavioral matrix that is specifically designed to keep you stressed and keep you spending. If you want to keep exposing the hidden architecture of this system, and if you want to truly reclaim your financial sovereignty, you need to join us here. Subscribe to the channel right now, hit that like button on this explainer to force this truth out into the algorithm where people need to see it. Comment down below on what you thought. Seriously, I want to know, what is your personal enough number? Put it in the comments. And if you want to arm yourself with even deeper, more powerful insights, support the channel directly by becoming a channel member. USA Rift is building a dedicated community of people who absolutely refuse to be pawns in this financial game anymore. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a chilling, highly provocative thought. I want you to carry this specific idea with you the very next time you feel that sudden, burning urge to upgrade your life. I use objects, I don't serve them. And the worst part, most people will never realize it. So ask yourself, are you truly the master of your wealth? Or has your wealth quietly, invisibly become the master of you? Think deeply about who is really in control of your money, and you will eventually discover who is in control of your life. Stay sharp. We'll see you in the next explainer.